Good evening. This is Harry Clevin. I'm wearing a Wyoming jersey. I'm in Casper, Wyoming, but originally from Houghton Lake, Michigan. And I'm a Detroit Lions fan for my whole life. So I've had a lot of pain and suffering. And as an amateur comedian, I have a lot of material. Now, 2 or 3 years ago, we had a culture change. Now, in sports, I hear well, they need to execute. It's a culture change. And whatnot. So much verbiage in basketball. It's pace, pace, pace. Oh, and sounds like a robot. This got almost every interview is pretty much the same. We got to execute and blah blah blah. Anyways, it was at one point where I thought Brad Holmes knew more than us fans, and he did for a bit. But now he's back to the um David Montgomery. He's back and forth on David Montgomery. Here's what I would like to see him admit his faults, both the coaches and his fault. Since he's a general manager, he sees what's going on. He has a voice in this matter. So, and let's not take when they got all the credit. Let's hold them accountable. Sheila Hemp, Ford, this is your team. When your general manager and coaches are failing, when your team is failing, Jerry Jones would step in. Now he hasn't had much success either, but at least his effort is in there. How can David Montgomery not be used? There's so many problems we had last season. David Montgomery wasn't used well. When Ben Johnson, who happens to be a playoff winning coach for the Chicago Bears in his first year, had control of the reins of the offense, here's what it would do. First drive, all Montgomery, bam, bam, bam. The next turn, Gibbs, bam, bam, bam. The next turn, Montgomery, bam, bam, bam. That's the way it was, and we were successful. This year, David Montgomery had a huge game, and Gibbs wasn't doing anything yet. Then Gibbs took off for a little bit, and you forgot that you had David Montgomery. And Gibbs didn't do anything the last few games. Do you think he got worn out? I do. All we had to do is face what should have been a lesser component in the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings before you had a chance to play the Bears. But you couldn't win against the Steelers or the Vikings. As a matter of fact, you lost twice to the Packers, twice to the Vikings, and you won two against the Bears. Okay? The one thing that concerns me the most is you're not securing a solid contributor to the team, a person that didn't have anything to do with their losing, other than the fact you didn't play him in David Montgomery. Another fact is you have a 6'4" wide receiver, rookie Isaac Tesla, that proved himself through training camp, proved himself through preseason. And in a dismal performance against Green Bay in week one, the first time you threw to him, he made a spectacular catch. That should have opened up your eyes right then and there that we got to get this guy the ball 3-4 times a game. We have to get Jamo the ball 3-4 times a game. And then you won't overuse St. Brown. St. Brown wasn't catching. I shouldn't say he wasn't catching, but he was dropping balls he never dropped before the last few weeks. Why? Because his hands are busted out. Because you went to him time and time again. Now he still caught those, but he's getting hit with 2 or 3 defenders because guess what? The defense knows your predictable offense because you don't have a play caller. And somehow, through all this delusional And this what surprises me because I was having so much confidence in the way this team was going. But you are so stuck on Jared Goff. You don't hold him accountable for all the lackluster, poor performances that he has. You can't see reality that this guy can't get out of. There's always going to be defenses that break through the offensive line. I don't care how great of an offensive line you have. The defenders are going to get loose and go after the quarterback. Now, what quarterbacks are successful in this league at the highest level, and that's what we're trying to reach, is they can move. You had a chance at Shadur Sanders, so did everybody else for multiple rounds. You made your few picks. You could have grabbed him. What if Goff went down? You're stuck with Kyle Allen. Matter of fact, I think Kyle Allen might have been better. I mean, he can run faster than Goff. Goff can throw the ball here and there. I don't care about statistics. If you always got to score 35 points because your defense can't hold anybody on a consistent basis, then you're going to put up stats and you're going to ignore David Montgomery. You're not going to have a balanced attack. We had that last year. We had that last 2 or 3 years. But it seems like our coaches we're going backwards, like big time. You got Chicago and Green Bay that we're in the playoffs. Green Bay's out. Minnesota, they won a few games. And JJ McCarthy, if he could stay healthy the whole season, man, they might be dangerous. You know what he can do? He can run. We got to find a quarterback through the draft, through free agency, or both. Let it be a fair competition. If you want to keep Goff, you think he's the stud that you are, start the whole season next year. Every position is open for competition, and let the best man win. And if Jared Goff is the best we can do, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. I like the guy. He's better than I thought he was going to be in a sense, but he's good enough to not be good enough. He's what you call fool's gold. He makes you think you can win, but you can't. The LA Rams know that. They know that Stafford was worth giving up the 2 number 1 picks and a 3rd round pick. And then they made roster moves to kind of recoup and get some picks, and they've done very well. My hat's off to the Rams. First year, Stafford wins a Super Bowl, so we knew it wasn't Stafford. I really like Gibbs and Jameson Williams and Laporta, and that's a whole heck of a lot to get for one player. Plus, you got Goff in a deal. But I'd rather have a Super Bowl. You know, one thing Brad Holmes hasn't done? Gone and get a Micah Parsons. Hasn't he's grabbed some mid-range budget free agent cornerbacks at Carlton Davis for last year. You know what Carlton Davis did before he got injured? He was the best cornerback we had. Why don't we have him? Oh, we'll just let him go. We don't want to sign him for that much. So then we get DJ Reed. He'll probably be gone next year too, which is insane. When you find somebody to put in the effort like Carlton Davis, you keep him. Then you add more through free agency, proven cornerback. And DJ Reed had a nice start to this season, then got hurt. Imagine if you had Carlton Davis, maybe that just that one extra cornerback that was proven could have made a difference. So many things that I'm not liking here, liking what I'm hearing. We should not be talking about David Montgomery's coming or going. We should be locking him down and know that he's not the problem. The play calling is. And your love for Jared Goff and your belief in Jared Goff of being the man that can win us a Super Bowl. That's the delusion that's going to bury this team. I'm sorry to say that, folks. Maybe they're all playing cards and they're talking Goff up so they can trade him for more. I hope that's the case. But if they're truly thinking, I heard Dan Campbell call him a stud. Dan Campbell, that's going to get you fired. If that's really what you believe. I pray and hope that it's them talking up their players. If you're going to get rid of Montgomery, hopefully you can trade him and Goff. I like David Montgomery. I'd love for him to say, but if you're determined to move him, please do it with Goff and bring us a mobile quarterback. Get us some draft picks where you can go draft a mobile quarterback. I'd rather see a guy throw a few balls a little less accurate than Jared Goff the first half of the season, but be able to get out of harm's way and burn a team for 20, 30 yards running. I'm going to be, even though I like Josh Allen a lot, I'm glad Lamar didn't make the playoffs. Maybe they'll move him and bring him to the Lions. Mahomes didn't make the playoffs. He's injured. Maybe we can snag him. We haven't proven, though, that we're big players in the free agent market. I mean, for the superstars. Has Max Crosby been able to snatch out here yet? Watch him. If he goes somewhere else, we haven't gotten a Khalil Mack. That's a few years ago, though. But we haven't gotten that stud defender. That not only do we get him, we don't secure him. There's a lot of people that's moved around. We didn't get Sauce Gardner. The Colts got him. Why can't the Lions get a Sauce Gardner? A home product. See, we're not trying to be down, but I'm being real. We're on the bubble, folks. I think as much as I've loved the Lions throughout the years, I'm just thinking that this year should have been the last year for Goff. The year before would have been all right. But if you can actually say that Goff is a stud and really mean it, after we lost to Minnesota with, I think it was their third string quarterback, and he had, I think, 65 yards passing, and your quarterback can't lead his team to beat that team. Your quarterback was up 24-7 2 years ago against San Francisco to go to the Super Bowl. And you can't lead your team. I understand other people made mistakes, but you can't lead your team out of that. If you look back with the Rams, he got to the Super Bowl. He had Todd Gurley, had a lot of great people, Jalen Ramsey on his team, Aaron Donald, but he wasn't good enough to win that game. Didn't even hardly put up any points. He laid an egg. And folks, he's laid a lot of eggs with us too. He's had a lot of great moments. He did more than a lot of quarterbacks ever in Lions history with the Lions. I get that. But he's laid a lot of eggs too. We need a good quarterback. The draft of Hendon Hooker failed. Looked like what's that pass rusher that's on Dallas now that we had that we gave up on? DeAndre Swift. I don't know what his issue was when he was with the Lions. It seemed like he was injured a lot, and it seemed like when the ball was thrown his way, he would pull up if he thought he was going to get hit, and it didn't look like he was all bought in. Maybe he's got a personality where it didn't just mesh with the new regime coming in. Maybe there was some resentment towards him because he was drafted before they got there. I don't know. But DeAndre Swift has looked really good, both with, I think he was with the Eagles, and then he's also with the Bears. He's running really hard and he's really fast. And all I'm saying that for is that you drafted Jahmyr Gibbs and immediately once you did that, you traded DeAndre Swift. I'm not sure what we got back for him. But had you made use of DeAndre Swift, and not picked Gibbs, which I like Gibbs, don't get me wrong, he's phenomenal. But imagine if you picked a top defender and to me, the defense is what wins Super Bowls. I mean, when your offense feels like they got to score 35 points to have a chance to win the game, puts way too much pressure on everybody. When Tom Brady won his first Super Bowls, if there was nothing there on 3rd and 12, he could legitimately not force the issue and be okay with them to punt because he knew his defense was going to hold serve. And therefore, he won a lot. When it's 3rd and 12 and you're down by 20, you got to force things happen. That's when interceptions happen. But anyways, the Red Wings won. They're in first place. They won 4-0. The well undermanned Pistons were up by 19 points, and the Clippers came back and won that game. They're pretty much fully their major players were there. Chris Paul's not with the team. I don't know what that's about, but he's plays as long as LeBron has, so maybe he's done. But the Pistons basically played their subs and started off playing great defense, and I think they let up a little bit and then just couldn't maintain that for a bit. But I was flipping back and forth the game, so I didn't really see all of that. So it's going to be very interesting this season with the Lions. I hope they make the right moves. I hope we have a different quarterback.